Hey, this is Bob from Fire Mountain Outdoors. You're watching Big Gunner 81 on YouTube.
Welcome everyone, hope you're all doing well today. You might notice I still have the SHOT Show crud. I'm trying to get over that. But anyway, today's video is going to be about some of the equipment and so forth that I've been using for making YouTube videos. Kind of an inside look for those that may be considering what kind of cameras to use and things like that. Just to use some food for thought and some ideas. So let me tell you a little bit about the gear that I use so far, or have used. Now, that's why I'm also recording off my webcam so you guys can see some of the cameras I use, because normally I'm using them when making content for y'all. So when I started out the YouTube channel, I didn't really have a dedicated camcorder. I was actually using my cell phone. Actually, I think I was using a BlackBerry, and then I moved into this Samsung Galaxy S5 that I use currently, which probably should update pretty soon. But smartphone does have a place, even so, beyond the just getting started motif. So after I got into the beginnings of YouTube, excuse me, I wanted to get a camcorder, digital camcorder. I was looking around what to get, and saw a recommendation, for Canon, and I started looking at options from Canon and so forth, and always had good luck with Canon's products from other things I've used in the past. And I moved into using this Canon Vixia. It's Vixia HF R52. It's not a current model anymore. There's other models out there, but you can find similar ones. Now, when I was looking at this, I wanted some options. I wanted to know that, one, just for the redundant fact, I wanted a camcorder that had built-in memory so that if for some reason I forgot the stupid memory cards at home or something, I wasn't out of luck. I still had a way to record. So this one actually does use the full-size SD cards. There's a little door back here. You might or may not be able to see it. Has a touch screen and so forth. Now, I'm not saying you have to buy this particular camera. I'm just saying this is what I've been using. And it works really well. It does 1080p, which is what I wanted. It's pretty durable. I don't recommend doing this, but I have dropped it. You can kind of see some spiderweb cracking on the top of the camera there. But I've been using this already for a couple of years now. I started the channel in 2014. And I want to say before 2015, I ended up buying this camera. And like I said, it's outdated now. But it's definitely still a good camera, and I think you can still pick one up pretty cheap if you want to pick one up used. They do have options that don't have onboard memory that are a little less expensive, and that's the way to go too. I thought about buying one actually, just to have for redundant purposes. Okay, battery packs are always different on cameras and things. So Canon, across certain models, they use the same battery pack. So I thought about buying it as a backup camera. Another version of this that doesn't have the onboard memory, just something cheap, maybe a used one I could pick off of eBay, which is not a bad idea when looking for gear to go look on eBay sometimes. Of course, used electronics are always a gamble too. Next up, you might notice from some of the videos I've done where I'm actually moving and shooting and so forth that I have a camera, from a point of view perspective. When I got here, and I've got this clear waterproof case, which I haven't really used much. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Is I have the Contour HD cameras. It's an action camera. They're not very expensive. They're not. I don't think you can buy them new anymore, unfortunately. But they do 1080p. They do 30 frames per second, which is not super fast, but it does 30 frames. It's good enough for a first-person perspective for shooting, I think, as long as you get it adjusted right. Now, the cool thing about these is that you can rotate the lenses, or actually the camera, I guess, is a better way to put it. So if you mount it sideways, you can adjust it to get the right angle. Now, there's no monitor on this particular camera, so it does have these two little dots here. They're two little lasers, like laser pointer type deal, that when you first turn it on, it lights up. So it gives you a frame of reference for if you're sitting vertical or not, or sitting horizontal or not. They do have removable batteries. You can charge them externally if you buy an external charger, or they'll charge up through the USB connection on it. And they use a micro SD card as well. And I think they'll hold up to, I don't know if it's 8 gigs or 16 gigs or what, but I use 8 gig cards in them because that's really all I need for a full day of shooting. I do also have a mount for this that you can mount on a Picatinny rail. They do make one. So you can, in some shots you might notice that I have, and I don't remember which videos they were in anymore, but I can mount this on my rail of my rifle, and I can have it facing me so you can see me and behind me and so forth, and see my weird facial expressions when I'm shooting, I guess. But Anyway, these are pretty cheap. I think you can pick them up around $30 to $50 or something like that on eBay, and prices change. So again, this is a used market, so you got to look around and see what you can find. When I bought this last one, the guy actually didn't even have this listed in the listing. This is a waterproof enclosure case for it. Some of these Contour HD cameras, by the way, don't have any type of threaded mount on the bottom, but some do. And if you don't have one with a threaded mount, if you get this enclosure, they have a threaded mount, like right there, 1/4 inch by 20 mount that's standard for most cameras. And these mounts also are adaptable with all their Contour HD style mounts that they have available as well. But I thought this was kind of a cool option. I tested it out, make sure the waterproof seal works on it and so forth. Of course, the audio, if you're out shooting guns, you're going to hear the audio on this. It's going to be okay. You're going to hear gunshots. But you're not using this for like an interview type camera. It's not the purpose of it. So most of the time with action cameras, it's kind of the deal is you're trying to get the action and that kind of stuff, and you're not looking for the super tight audio sounds on it. Moving along, speaking of action cameras, a lot of people use GoPros. Okay, and I'm not opposed to GoPros. I think it's a great idea. But I can't afford GoPro type stuff. You're talking about cameras that are in the hundreds of dollars to buy, and they're very small, and you're putting them oftentimes in harm's way because it's an action cam, or aka crash cam. So, especially if you're putting it downrange, you don't want to shoot it. I picked up one of these guys. This is basically a Chinese knockoff of a GoPro, and it still has a lot of the cool features. One of the things I haven't tried yet with it, though, I'll be honest, is hooking up an external microphone. I haven't tried to see if I can get that to work with this. It might, because it seems to have a lot of the same similar features as a regular GoPro. And the cool thing is, it comes with a ton of mounts. It comes with a waterproof case, just all different types of mounting options, so you're pretty much good to go out of the box. The only thing it doesn't really have is a Picatinny rail, but it uses all the GoPro style adapters. So you could pick up a GoPro Picatinny adapter and it'll mount to it. It's not a problem. And in fact, one of the things I have here, it's kind of a cool idea. This little piece didn't come with it. I bought this separate off Amazon, and I'll try to put some links to some of these products and so forth on the description. But this mount actually is designed so that you can attach a device like that little GoPro with a 1/4 inch threaded adapter and basically tighten it up on there, and it gives you a cold shoe adapter mount, so you can mount that, and I'll explain a little bit about that in just a moment. But for a camera that costs, these are about $50 versus like several $100s for a GoPro. I think it's not a bad investment. I haven't had a GoPro to put these head to head to really see if there's much of a marginal difference, but to get me to spend like 6 times the cost or whatever it is, or 8 times the cost or whatever, I'm not even sure what the big price difference is, but these are about 50. I think GoPro's what, $300-$400, depending on if you're getting the latest, greatest model. Maybe I'm wrong, but anyway, there's a substantial difference in price regardless. And my thought is, for something I might accidentally shoot downrange, and I want to put next to that pumpkin I shoot at or whatever I'm trying to blow up, I think a $50 investment is a much less of a harsh reality than a GoPro getting damaged that costs way much more. So I'll put a link on the bottom for these two, because this is a cool little option. I've had some good success with it. The batteries, you can buy extra batteries for them with an external charger that are really inexpensive, and so you can keep these things going all day. They come with a lot of mounts. I think it comes with more stuff than the GoPro comes with, honestly. But what I was mentioning about that cold shoe adapter mount, and I'm going to talk about this before I get into my most expensive camera I've added. But this mount here, now, I mentioned earlier about the smartphone not being necessarily obsolete to be used. It's really not, in the sense of filming videos. A lot of people use their smartphone. I guess Apple phones are really awesome with the camera, from what I understand. I haven't had one, so I can't really speak to that. But one of the things I'd say is, besides the fact that you can do all your Instagram posts and stuff from the cell phone, that's the way how you have to do it. If you're doing anything about live streaming, or you want a really lightweight camera rig for example, I went to SHOT Show. Carrying around a lot of gear kind of sucks, honestly, but I kind of like using my camcorder better than I do the smartphone, just because this particular smartphone, there's drawbacks to everything, and one of the drawbacks is the vibration. So like if you are bouncing around with your camera, and I'm holding this little mount, which I'll talk about in a second. If you're bouncing this around, you're gonna kind of see more of that on the camera, I think, than you do on the like that Canon Vixia that I use, because it's designed to kind of compensate for some of that vibration and stuff when you're shooting video, that is. So this mount leads me to this mount that's in my hand. There's all types of options for these. You could buy really expensive ones. I think this one was like under $40. I think it was around 20 maybe. This mount, this handheld deal, stabilizer, whatever you want to call it. The idea is take your smartphone and it actually will clamp into it. And the cool thing about this is, you know how a lot of us like to do Facebook live streams and Instagram live streams and so forth? You can mount your phone into this, have two hands on it to hold it, to stabilize it. And also, it leads me into a little bit more of the equipment stuff. This mount, if you notice, you can slide it into a cold shoe adapter, and this camera can mount up there. So now, say you want to go ahead and do a live stream, but you want to have, an extra redundant copy of your video to maybe go back and edit later or something. You could run your action camera on top there, or maybe you want a second camera perspective, or who knows what. The options are totally endless. I mean, the other thing about this particular mount is a couple things. You can add a light, so sometimes you need a little bit more light indoors even, just to get a little better video quality. And you can also put an external mic on here. Plus, you could take like those external USB batteries that are available, so you can keep your phone all charged up, and you can strap one onto here. This particular mount, too, what's really neat about it is it has, your threaded 1/4-inch hole on the bottom there and on the sides. So you can mount this on a tripod this way or, this way, and still have a light and still have a microphone also hooked up in here, which I'm going to mention more about this cell phone rig, too. If you're doing live stuff, or you're doing booth interviews, as they call it, or whatever, like SHOT Show or any trade shows, you definitely want to have some kind of microphone set up. You can still wire, believe it or not, in most of these phones, you can wire up an external microphone if you'd like to. And a couple options with that. First, one of the mics that I was turned on to, which I like a lot, and this is the third one I bought. The first one I kind of destroyed at SHOT Show 2016. I lost one of the screws and dropped it and fell over on my tripod mount, whatever. Anyway, it's a Takstar mic. This is the SGC 598, and you can get these on Amazon. I'm going to put the link below in the video as well. They run off of one AA battery, and kind of open this up and show you what it looks like. Let's see here. There's a nice little pouch for it. Nice foam, which you could save this foam too. If you packed away some of your gear and in like a hard case of some type, you could actually use this pre-cut foam. I'll go ahead and take some of this stuff off here so you can see it. I haven't even taken this one out of the box yet. Basically, it's a shotgun mic and has some gain adjustments on it and so forth. And it has a nice little, foam windscreen that slips over the end of it. And this microphone, it works okay if you don't have a wireless or wired handheld mic to use for interviews at like louder locations, meaning like you go to SHOT Show or whatever and you get all the background noise. It works okay. You're going to pick up a lot of that background noise. That's the downside. But having said that, that mic will mount on this cold shoe adapter, and you could have a mic up on top of here. Especially if you're not in a very, very loud environment, it would work awesome. I'm very pleased with it. Of course, everybody's got their own things they like and dislike, so you never know. But speaking of the microphones and wiring in a mic into your cell phone, you might be wondering, well, how do I do that when my microphone input only has one jack and so forth? And what if I want to be able to hear the audio and different things? And you may or may not be able to hear the audio off your mic on that. I'm not sure how that works. Depends on your cell phone, I guess. But they make these adapters, and I'm pulling this out of here. What this does is this little TRS adapter takes and splits, take off the cover on the end, Plugs in your cell phone. You might notice it has 4, individual rings on there. Might be kind of hard to see on the camera. I don't know if the autofocus will pick it up. Probably not. But anyway, it looks like the regular connection that's on your earbuds with your mic for your cell phone. The other 2 ends break it out into a stereo headphone connection and a stereo microphone connection. And so now, or maybe it's a mono mic connection. I'm not actually sure on that now that I think about it. But regardless, you can connect an external mic with this. In fact, I've used corded handheld mic, just a regular stick mic with this setup. And I've also used that Techstar mic that you saw as well. It's all you need is this connector, and you can plug in your microphone into your cell phone. You might even be able to use it without it. I'm not sure. I've never tried it. But I like being able to do that because of, example, if you want to do a Google Hangout Live with someone and you want to go out to an event and be able to use this handheld rig set up with your cell phone and to be able to hear the people that you're talking with, well, I just bring this regular set of earbuds. In fact, I have a purple set. These are the ones Laura uses. And just plug the regular stereo earbuds into the other end of that connector. And now I have an external microphone I can use and earbuds to be able to hear the people from the Google Hangout or whatever other live streaming that I'm doing. So those are some options for as far as different things I've used for recording for both shooting and for just filming regular how-to type videos and whatnot that I do in the reloading room, and then also doing the live streams. So there's a couple of the options I've done so far. What else we got here now is since I've been using all those for a little while, I recently decided to upgrade my game on photos because I want to get better at taking still photos and as well. And so I also wanted another redundant option to use for filming videos if I like to, and just something to do different, use differently. So I talked to a lot of people in the industry as well, and different people who are doing YouTube videos and whatnot, and they recommended this Canon T5i. And when I heard Canon, I said, hey, cool, because I like Canon's products. I've been using their camcorder for a while, and it might be something I'm a little more familiar with because every company does things a little differently on their menus. Now, cool thing about this camera, and I got a pretty awesome deal on it. I searched around. I bought it off Amazon. I'll put the link in the description as well. I bought it as a kit. It came with a bunch of stuff. Knowing that, looking at the kit and what it came with, I said, well, okay, well, that's probably junk. This is probably something I don't need. Kind of went through that. But in the end of the day, for the price of the kit, it was still a better deal than buying everything that I really wanted individually. For example, the tripod that came with it, it's a joke. It wouldn't really hold this camera. It's a piece of junk. But, having said that, could I use a cheap tripod that just comes with something I bought for free, pretty much, in my opinion, for something else? Yeah, I could use a cheap tripod for this little guy. It's very lightweight, doesn't require much to hold it, and I'm not going to feel bad if I end up shooting that stupid tripod downrange if I have the camera set up. So, I did buy this as a package deal. Now, one of the things I added on, you might notice on the bottom here, when you're looking at it, like, what the heck's this big piece on the bottom? Because it makes the camera look a lot larger. Well, it's actually a setup from a company called Newer? I don't know. Anyway, I'll put the link below the video. It holds 2 batteries in here. Instead of running off just one battery, it gives you extended battery life, and it comes with a setup that allows you to run this camera off 6 AA batteries as well, which is good because say you're out there and your charger fails or something like that and you want a redundant option, maybe you're not at home. It's where you can, you're basically someplace where you have to be able to film. AA batteries are pretty readily available, so you have an option. You're not totally screwed. It basically threads into the bottom, so just into the actual threads for your tripod, and then it provides you with tripod threads in the bottom. It also gives you not only is it for extending your battery life, but also gives you an extra grip. You can change your angles of how you're filming or taking your photos. With this particular camera, see if I can turn it on for you too. Of course, I don't have a card in here, but it has, and you're going to see my screen here, see on my computer, it has a flip out screen, which is cool because if you're filming yourself talking and you're only one person and you want to be able to have options on how to do things, it allows you to be able to see the framing. It gives you an option. So that's pretty cool. You can use an external mic. You can actually use the hot shoe adapter on the top to put that Takstar mic in there if you'd like, or you can run a wireless mic setup or a wired handheld mic setup, something like that as well. Gives you a lot of options. So I might start filming a little bit more on videos with this. The only drawback, one drawback I should say, not the only, because they all have their own specific things that they do really well. This is really awesome for taking still photos. Having said that, when you want to zoom in on things, this particular lens is what controls your zooming in and out. There isn't a regular, smooth zooming feature like you would see on a camcorder. So this is more of a set it up and film it type of camera. It's not where you can be like, doing close-ups and things real easily for video purposes. That's one of the drawbacks. The other thing is that it does really nice quality for doing that, and that's not an issue. But it's more geared towards, for photography, obviously, but it gives the option to be able to film video as well. And it's not a very cheap option, I'll put it that way. Definitely about twice the price, roughly, of buying the camcorder, but the camcorder can't take stills. It can, but it can't take good stills. It's not designed for it. So I'm still learning how to use that T5i. There's a lot to learn with it. There's a lot of choices with lenses and so forth, and lenses are not cheap either. That adds to the cost of it. There's, I believe, some lenses that are designed more for doing video production work, and those lenses are obviously really, really expensive, but I believe they allow you to zoom a little bit smoother and so forth with them, so you can actually have some of that control. But what else I'd like to throw in about that? I'm just thinking it is a cool option to use, definitely. I do like the DSLR. I think it does awesome quality for video and photos also. One of the neat things I like is the manual focus. If you want to be able to blur out the background, for example, like you want to bring in your person who's doing the speaking into really tight focus, it'll do an awesome job of that. It'll allow you to kind of play with that depth of field, whatever they call it. I'm still learning all the terminology, obviously. Those are some of the things you can't do with a camcorder. I mean, this camcorder basically right here, this kind of autofocuses for you, and sometimes it doesn't autofocus very well. It sometimes leaves things blurred. Your main subject matter that you're trying to film gets blurred out when you don't want it to. That sucks. I've had that happen. And usually it's only momentarily because it does do a very quick autofocus comparatively to the DSLR. The DSLR, one of the downsides is the autofocus is a little slower, and you can hear the movement inside the lens. So when the lens is making adjustments and so forth, you hear that. And it can get picked up on your mic if you have a shotgun mic on here. Of course, if you're out filming something like SHOT Show or NRA Show or something like that, where you've got a lot of talking in the background, you may not notice that noise of the lens because you're going to be having it drowned out by all the background noise. So that being said, those are some of the options I've been using to film with. The next step for me, I think, is going to be looking at audio options, especially wireless setups. I dabbled with it a little bit a while back with a really, really, really cheap setup that was, I want to say, like around $20 off Amazon. That thing sounded horrible. The audio quality just was just lacking pretty badly. Now, it's a wireless mic setup, yes, so I don't get tingling wires, but realistically, I think I'd rather deal with the wired mic in those situations. And oftentimes you can get away with that. There's another wired mic, lavalier type microphone that I might pick up that's pretty inexpensive that was recommended to me as well. And I might give that a try. But I'm looking at wireless setups. Problem is, for good wireless audio, you're going to spend a lot of money. I was recently talking with the guys from We Like Shooting, and I want to say he has over $500 or more wrapped up in just his wireless audio setup. Basically a wireless receiver and a wireless handheld mic or a couple wireless handheld mics or whatever. It adds up really fast. And for someone who's just starting out in YouTube especially, I mean, I've been doing it for a couple of years now, but for someone that maybe like you out there that might be watching this video that may be thinking about some options, you may not be ready to dump that kind of money into this venture at this point. And I'm not quite ready to do it either, and I've been doing it for a little while. But it is something I want to look at down the road, I think. Right now I want to work on just kind of getting more established with the equipment that I do have and making some more videos for y'all. So, that being said, hopefully I didn't talk too long. And until next time, everybody, go out and have some fun shooting.